a big cheer just rung around this paddock enclosure here as Denoli came through with two these yellow fluorescent jacketed security men dogging his every move. He's got a little St. Benedict on his bridle, you see there on the right, and at his head Jim Tracy, who is the father of Tom Tracy, who is about to be loaded into the most important ride of his career. Denoli third last year, but reputed by Tom Foley's putting him up there as better than he was last year, much better, and I believe myself he's going to make Alderbrook stretch all the way. This, the Smurfit Champion Hurdle, some £127,000 to the winner, 2 miles, 8 flights of hurdles, 16 runners listed by Graham Goode.
And they have between them won over £1.5 million in winner place prize money, and that's just over hurdles. Alderbrook trading at evens in the ring is the man of Richard Dunwoody, very much unformed. Borough 8, however, 100-to-1 chance for the young Richard Johnson. Chief Minister is 100-to-1, and that's ridden by Tony Dobbin. Collier Bay at 9-to-1 is partnered by Graham Bradley. So Denoli at 5-to-1, Tom Tracy having his first ride in a champion hurdle. Hotel Minella 8-to-1, Charlie Swan. Kiss Air 50-to-1, Jonathan Lower. Land de Far 25-to-1, Mick Fitzgerald. Mac the Knife is a 33-to-1 chance, ridden by David Bridgewater. The Vise of Muse is 100-to-1, and that's partnered by Paul Holly. Pribwell trades at 33 with Chris Maud. Right Win 28-to-1, Graham McCourt. Squire Silk, who finished 17th in the county handicap hurdle off 10 stone 8 here last year, is 25-to-1 for the champion this, and that's ridden by Jason Titley, who's having such a great season. Staunch Friend is 66-to-1, Pigeon Niven. Absalom's Lady 100-to-1, Tony McCoy, and the trailblazing My Silv is 6-to-1, and the Mad of Jamie Osborne.
I've now got the owner of the champion hurdle, Andy Pick. How are you feeling now with the race 5 minutes away?
Very, very nervous.
You were telling me you're supposed to get pleasure out of this, aren't you?
Well, that's right. I really wonder why I'm doing it, to be quite honest. But no doubt I'll have the pleasure if he gets the result that we want, which I'm quite sure he will do.
Have you backed it as well? I mean, can I ask what price?
Yeah, 4-to-1 we backed in that in December.
Yeah. And if you can't win, I suppose you're hoping Denoli would be the...
Well, I think the fact that Denoli's here anyway is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, I take my hat off to all the connections of Denoli. I love horses, and just to see him here is fabulous. I'm really, really pleased.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm not thinking like that anyway.
You remember last year, though, don't you?
What happened last year?
Last year, a horse called Alderbrook did the business.
Oh, right, yes, I do remember that.
Let's remind ourselves of what happened 12 months ago.
Myself in black and white, and Alderbrook is racing double. Fortune and Fame's under pressure, so to Denoli. This is the final fight of the Smurfit Champion Hurdle, and it's where Large Action took up the running. But Alderbrook's getting serious now. Large Action, Alderbrook clear from Myself and Denoli. And it's an English one too, and it's Alderbrook who stretches into the lead. Alderbrook going on by 1, 2, 3 lengths up towards the line. An amazing performance. This is Alderbrook the winner. Alderbrook and Norman Williamson.
Alderbrook and the man on top then, a wonderful moment then, but a bittersweet one here. Norman Williamson, as good now as he was then?
Yes, I think he is. He looks really well. It's just out to see him. Mr. Bailey's very hopeful. You know, you've got to see him take all the beating.
It's the flat race speed he delivers after the last. They don't always do that, flat race horses, do they?
Don't always do it. I think the jumping just slows him down a little, but last year he did, and this year he's just proving now, I think, the past since Kempton, that he has got that speed, and he's, you know, hopefully he'll show it again today.
Well, he beat them all last year, but there is some thought that Denoli's had a better preparation this year. Are you actually worried about him at all?
I got a fear of him a little bit in the back of my mind, but I don't think he's got the class to beat Alderbrook. I couldn't see Denoli win a Group 2, whereas this horse would. So yes, Denoli's had a good preparation, but this horse has had the same preparation as last season. He did have chips removed from his joints, but who knows, that might help him. I got to say, if everything goes right, I think he'll win.
Thank you.
Latest betting on this Smurfit Champion Hurdle. Alderbrook is even money to repeat last year's win. Denoli at 5-to-1. Mysilv at 13-2. On 9-to-1 then Hotel Manila and Collier Bay. And then a big break in the betting to Squire Silk and Land of Far, both at 25-to-1. On 28-to-1 is Right Win. And then on 33s, Mac the Knife, 40 to 1 Pridwell, at 50s Kisser, Staunch Friend at 66 to 1, and the rank outsiders all on 100 to 1, Absalom's Lady, Borough 8, Chief Minister and Muse.
Now the parade. Richard Dunwoody on Alderbrook, the reigning champion jockey and the reigning champion hurdler. What a pair to beat. 18-year-old Richard Johnson on Borough 8, close to Denoli at Liverpool, but this looks tough. Tony Dobbin on Chief Minister, the pride of Scotland, who won't give this away without a fight. Graham Bradley on Collier Bay, unbeaten this season and a winner of the Irish champion last time. Tom Tracy on Denoli, All-Ireland's hero, back from life-threatening injury and back to his best. Irish champion Charlie Swan on last year's Irish Star novice Hotel Manila. They'll be coming late. Jonathan Lower on Kisser, top-rated 4-year-old last year, but he's 5 now and the form seems to have gone. Mick Fitzgerald on Land of Fire, threatening when falling in each of the last 2 years. Be ready for a shock. David Bridgewater on Mac the Knife, very talented on the flat, and he's beginning to come through over jumps. Paul Holly on Muse, a front runner who was 6th here 2 years ago, but has only had 1 run back since injury. Chris Maud on Pridwell, a horse of blinding talent, but who doesn't always employ it. Graham McCourt on Right Win, a horse as good as Alderbrook on the flat, but the champion trounced him last time over hurdles. Jason Titley on Squire Silk, an improver who was very impressive in the Gold Trophy last time. Peter Niven on Staunch Friend, a top horse 3 seasons ago, but he's been injury-plagued since. Tony McCoy on Absalom's Lady, she was 6th last year and will do well to go any better. And finally, Jamie Osborne on the front-running Mysilv. 4 times she's gone all the way at Cheltenham. This lot will have to work to reel her in.
As Alderbrook leads them down towards the stands, not generally regarded as a beautiful mover in his slow paces, it's when he starts to gallop that you get the feel, his jockeys say. And particularly when he starts to jump, because from the first moment Alderbrook took to jumping, he really did take to it. I hope I'm not going to put the evil sign on him today, but so far, touch wood, he's made scarcely a serious mistake.
A really brave horse, Alderbrook, when you consider what he's gone through. He's had some hard races on the flat. He's had chips removed from his knees. I was lucky enough to ride him out last week. He comes out quite pottery, and you appreciate then, as I said, just how brave he is to do the galloping and jumping that he does.
And there's Denoli, the hope and darling of Ireland. Well, he's very closely involved with the Tracy family. Tom rides him, and Ted Walsh talked to the jockey.
Very well. He's come on a lot from his last 2 runs. Hopefully everything going well. He'll be right in the day.
What way would you like the race to go for you?
I'd love myself to make the running and maybe track her down to the second last, and if I could take it off her there.
Like the best of your way home?
Yeah.
How would you like to be travelling here now to the last long run up? If you're in front here, would you be happy?
Yes, very happy. It'd take a very good horse to pass him if he was in front here.
Well, hopefully it'll work out that way for you, and another place here will be alive if it does.
Yes, please God.
I think that could well be the scenario that Ted Walsh just mapped out for him there, because he looks magnificent, Denoli. Had an interrupted preparation before finishing 3rd last year, then went on and beat another one of today's rivals, Borough 8, up at Aintree, and of course suffered that terrible injury to his leg and looked as though he'd never race again. Miracle that he ever got back on the race course. He was doing all of his best work
in the closing stages in the AIG Irish Champion Hurdle, then won last time out. Looks magnificent, John, doesn't he?
He looks really wonderful, better than I've ever seen him. The muscle of his quarters is absolutely bulging and gleaming. But there is the one he's got to beat, Alderbrook. What a horse. Group 2 class on the flat, and a really game, courageous horse on the flat, and he's transferred that courage and enthusiasm to hurdling, because the hurdles not only don't get in his way, they positively seem to help him, because he crosses them so economically that his speed remains intact, or has remained intact, to the flat, and there, so far, there hasn't been any hurdler able to match it.
Certainly he's got the speed, Alderbrook, but I think when it comes to jumping hurdles, the best horse in the country is the filly Myself. I hope, as you were saying about Alderbrook earlier, that doesn't put too much of a dampener on her. She's the fastest thing over a hurdle that I've seen for a long, long time. She was bought by Elite Racing up at the Doncaster sales for 155,000 guineas earlier, and she's proved to be, not say a bargain, but certainly worth her money. She's been prepared for this race, especially this season. Last year she ran, I think, more or less as an afterthought and finished 5th, turned for home with every chance, and that was following a very good 4-year-old campaign. Normally it takes horses a year to recover from a hard 4-year-old campaign. I thought she did particularly well. This year she looks better than ever. Big Mac's got news.
And Myself is touching 7-1, 13-2 the general price against her. Bookmakers now asking for odds. 11-10 on Alderbrook. I've seen no odds against on the course, and he'll be the 15th horse to go off odds on in 67 runnings of the Champion Hurdle, and 9 of 1. Now Denoli is a 5-1 chance, third last year, like Kiri Muir, who was third in the 60s and went on to win and beat Magic's Court in the Champion Hurdle. It's then 9-1 against Hotel Manila, 10 in places. That's collapsed confidence in Hotel Manila, and 9-1 against Collier Bay. But they're asking for odds. Alderbrook to retain his title, 11-10 on.
Well, Hotel Manila finished in front of Danoli, just in front of Danoli in the AIG Europe Champion Hurdle. Collier Bay beat them both, but this fellow Hotel Manila came to the last looking all over a winner, but not for the first time. He stopped, or at any rate idled, when he got in front.
An interesting race tactically, because Myself want to make the run in. Hotel Manila wants holding up. Denoli, our pick of the paddock. Myself going to the post. Alderbrook in the betting ring. Hotel Manila easy to back. As I said, tactically, really interesting contest. Just out the back of the field there is Mac the Knife. He was certainly a horse who is better off coming from behind. Absalom's Lady, one of the two fillies, the grey. I think she's just got a little bit of a kick. They got close together. Why they don't organise some little bit of a line, even if they only just put sawdust down some 10 yards back from the tape, so horses could get out there, walk round, then walk forward, I do not know. But anyway, she looks sound enough. Let's join Graham.
So the Smurfit Champion Hurdle lining up. Muse and Absalom's Lady out the back. Mac the Knife taking a turn. Myself, Jamie Osborne, the white and black colours. And Alderbrook and Richard Dunwoody are going to have that horse covered up. That's it, under orders, and they're away. So we expect to see Myself up there early, and she's in front there on the right of the pack as they come down towards the first, and early taking a prominent position as well. They're at the first and they're all safely over, and Alderbrook is the back marker, but it's Myself who blazes the trail, goes on by a length or so. Out wide, Collier Bay with a noseband Chief Minister. On the extreme left in yellow is Muse. That can make the front running. Close up in 5th is Denoli. Through on the inside we have Kisser, and with Kisser is Squire Silk and Absalom's Lady. And then Borough 8 and Landafar and Ripe Win, and tucked in off the pace is Staunch Friend. And Hotel Manila is giving them all the start, and Alderbrook is last but one, and here we are at the second flight, and it's Myself who stretched at it, jumped it well, all safely over the second. Myself the leader, Collier Bay, Muse out wide, and then Chief Minister, followed by Denoli Racing 5. Mac the Knife in 6, Absalom's Lady, Squire Silk 7, 8 and 9. And then comes Borough 8, Lander Far, Pribwell, Staunch Friend. And then Alderbrook, Ripe Win, and behind Ripe Win is Kisera, who's already getting reminders, and the back marker is Hotel Manila, is going to be played late. There's about 15 lengths between first and last. It's Myself who leads as they swing left-handed away from the packed stands. Myself and Jamie Osborne blazing a trail as she does. Collier Bay in second, Muse third, and Denoli 4.
Now they're making their way down the hill then towards flight number 3, and it's Myself that's doing the donkey work in this Smurfit Champion Hurdle from Collier Bay. With handy in behind them towards the inside is Denoli in those blue and white colours as they rise over the next. Muse towards the outside, Myself the inside there. Still towards the rear is Alderbrook, and Hotel Manila is giving them all a start as they race down the far side. Kisser is stone last on towards flight number 4, and it's Myself on the near side of Collier Bay. Then Chief Minister towards the outside, Denoli the inside, then followed next by Absalom's Lady the Grey, Squire Silk towards the inside, followed next by Borough 8 and Right Win out wide from Lander Far as they take the next. Denoli a little awkward there, Pridwell a mistake. They head towards flight number 5, rising on the far side, and Myself continues to show the way. Denoli getting very much closer on the inside, following her, snapping at her heels. On the outside is Collier Bay, Chief Minister next, Borough 8 looking for Alderbrook, trying to make headway but still being patiently ridden as they race towards the 5th flight at the top of the hill, at which it was Myself, a good jump from Collier Bay. Absalom's Lady, a very bad mistake there. Rising on the far side then, it's Myself from Collier Bay, then Denoli in 3rd place, Alderbrook in about 8th or 9th at this stage, but only about 5 or 6 off the pace.
Just being preceded by Right Win, and Richard Dunwood is going to pull the champion wide as they begin the descent for home in the Smurfit Champion Hurdle. And continuing the descent is Myself who leads. Collier Bay, the dark sleeves. Look to the left with the nose band, Mac the Knife with a run, and in behind that is Chief Minister also with a rush. Denoli is on the inside. Alderbrook popped over that one, just being pushed along, but it's Myself who's blazed the trail. Muse is being pulled up. They've got just 2 more flights of hurdles to jump, and it's Myself who leads. 2 in second place, Collier Bay, then Denoli and Mac the Knife, and at this stage Alderbrook with a lot of racing to do. Borough 8 starting to get going. Here comes Squire Silk with a run 2 out, and it's Collier Bay under Graham Bradley who take command now. Collier Bay goes on to Myself. Here comes Alderbrook storming through on the outside, 5 lengths down as they make the final turn. 1 more flight of hurdles to jump, and Collier Bay has the answers here. Alderbrook's under pressure from Richard Dunwoody. Myself can find no more at the last, and Collier Bay hurdles it 5 clear of Alderbrook and Squire Silk and Myself, and then Denoli, and then Pribwell as he race up the waterline. It's Collier Bay, but Alderbrook is starting to close. They've got 100 yards to go, and Collier Bay is going to hold him. Collier Bay is going to take the Smurfit Champion Hurdle. Collier Bay it is to Alderbrook in second place. Pridwell storms up the hill to be 3rd. The champion of Ireland, Denoli, is 4. Squire Silk beats Myself and Borough 8. Then Staunch Friend and Hotel Manila and Lander Fire who finished this year. Then we have Chief Minister and Right Win and Kisser and Absalom's Lady who was knocked over at the top of the hill. And so the result then of this, the Smurfit Champion Hurdle, it's a win for number 4, Collier Bay, in the colours of Mr. Wally Sturt, trained by Jim Auld. Great triumph for him and ridden by Graham Bradley. Second horse is number 1, Alderbrook, the champion hurdler, no longer in the colours of Ernie Pick, Kim Bailey trains, and Richard Dunwoody rode. And the 3rd horse home is Pridwell in the colours of Jones, Burstock and Fleet Partnership, ridden by Chris Morton, trained by Martin Pipe. That's the 1, 2, 3. 4th horse home is number 5 on the card. That's Denoli. The nearest the Irish could get was 4th today, but there's our winner, Collier Bay, brilliantly ridden by Graham Bradley, and the head of the champion hurdler, and Graham Bradley, who's winning his 7th race here at the festival meeting, having run the race between well, he's won up with My Young Man, Curly Man, Sandra Valley, Kildimo, 7 de Loire, and the Gold Cup on Begorn. And now, thanks to Jamie Osborne making the wrong choice, he has got on Collier Bay. Collier Bay's 6th win, the champion hurdler at the age of 6.
What a triumph for Graham Bradley, but even more for his many friends. This will be regarded as a triumph for trainer Jim Auld, and supremely popular trainer who hasn't had the best luck over the years, what with viruses and various other strokes of ill fortune. He's always had faith in Collier Bay. He was waiting for the ground, waiting for the rain to come. Wouldn't have run him if it had been fast or firm ground. But enough rain came, and Jim has been proved right.
And the right man on board, Graham Bradley. Bad luck for Jamie Osborne. He had the choice between Mysilv or Collier Bay, and when he chose, he didn't know that the ground was going to ease. But there's nobody better than Graham Bradley, 35 years of age. Still hasn't got that many miles on the clock, always in the right place. Mysilv led them along a good clip right from the outset. Brad was never further than 2 lengths away from her. And as they came down the hill, just have a look, Alderbrook, he'd been swinging off of him at the top of the hill. Richard Dunwoody just beginning to have to niggle at this point. And you thought then, well, he's going to be lucky to finish in the first 3 or 4. But the further he'd gone, the better he was. Denoli, it's got to be said, didn't jump as well as he should do. Never would a champion hurdle jumping the way he did this afternoon. But Collier Bay, Graham Bradley, they've gone for home at this point, and from then it was always a question of whether Alderbrook could just claw him that job.
It certainly is, and Alderbrook has produced that acceleration from off the bit. The trouble is, he was off the bit at the top of the hill. He's used his speed before the gap began to close. Now, no, in a moment he'll see the gap start to close a little bit, but Collier Bay always has the power and the power to spare, really. He's stayed on to win really on merit.
Collier Bay, the horse we told you on the morning line was being backed in the offices with the rain coming down and the snow. 16 and 14 to 1 this morning, touched 10 to 1 on the course, returned 9 to 1 against Collier Bay. The runner-up, Alderbrook, sent off the 11 to 10 on favourite, and he's the 6th odds-on chance to be beaten in 67 runnings of the Champion Hurdle. Pridwell, a fair result each way for most bookmakers. Double Carpet, 33 to 1 was 3rd, and Denoli, quite simply not good enough, but brave to the end, finished 4th, struggled on, the 5 to 1 second favourite. And what sweet revenge and sweetness that is for Graham Bradley. He overslept, missed workout, so he could not ride Alderbrook. He was jocked off it, and here he comes and takes his revenge by beating Alderbrook on Collier Bay, his 7th festival winner. That for Graham Bradley, but it is absolutely marvellous. Imagine how he's feeling. He could have been on the favourite, he wasn't. He lost the ride because he overslept. How glad he is. He's got on the Champion Hurdler winner, Collier Bay, and of course for Jim Old, he had Seamer runner-up the Dawn Run in that epic Champion Hurdle 12 years ago. His first festival winner for good old Jim Old.
I think perhaps he was.
No, he wasn't. Well, we thought that maybe he was having a mock look at his watch, but whatever. Certainly, I think he'll have a few words to say to Ernie Pick, the owner of Alderbrook, because it's just the way things go. If he'd woken up on time, he'd have been on Alderbrook. As it is, he got the leg up on Collier Bay, and I can't speak highly enough of Jim Old, who's there just giving Graham a hug. He has always had the utmost confidence in himself, and he's had enough things go wrong in the last 10 years. Most people would have shot themselves. A really incredibly nice person, a very, very good trainer. Knows his horses inside out, never ever runs them when he doesn't think they're right.
And like you, John, he could have made a living as a comic.
Well, he's just one of the game's great people, Jim Old, and actually had a part acting when they did the Gay Future affair many, many years ago. And since then, he's like you said, he's had virus year after year. He's moved yards. You'd have thought he'd have changed his job long ago, but that wasn't the case. And Graham Bradley, very happy, and rightly so.
Brad's Cheltenham winners, he's had six winners at the festival before, and of course the greatest of those was Bregorn's Gold Cup in the great Dickinson year 1983, when Graham led home the Dickinson quintet, first 5 home in the Gold Cup.
He'll be able to buy himself an alarm clock now.
Jim, Wally, well, many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Moldboard and difficulties and Seamer, and you've come through and come good. And Jim, you've improved this horse. He was in the 2.5 mile, 2 mile 5 handicap last year, wasn't it? But he has come on. I mean, literally.
He wasn't right in Ireland. I told everybody he wasn't right in Ireland. He shook and he worried and he sweat when I saddled him up, and he was very, very worried beforehand. You know, just the journey upset him. It was a little bit close to Sandown. And I told everybody, I said he wasn't right. That wasn't the horse.
He won the Irish Champion.
Yeah, but I mean, he's a different horse today, isn't he? You know. And I kept telling everybody he'll be a better horse on Champion Hurdle. I'll train him properly.
Well, I mean, he's the best horse here, clear. There's no excuses for anything. Wally, to be an owner and get close before.
Come down, Wally. Get close to it. Patience prevails, isn't it, I think? I don't know.
Wonderful owners.
You've had your troubles with viruses and things, Jim, and Wally, many owners walk around and stay with them, but Wally seems to be a linchpin.
Well,
why have you stuck with this man?
Because I'm crackers, I'm mad. Philanthropic. He's a nice man,
And a good trainer.
Absolutely, as is evidence today.
And did you believe, I mean, in a sense, as strong as Jim did, that really he was a champion herder, not just a good horse?
Today I did, yes. No, seriously. When he won in Ireland after the experience he had on the flight over, he was 10 lengths better here than what he was there. I'm sure he would have been.
And I hope you're back to show the judgment.
Absolutely.
Nothing, I hope you'll celebrate for weeks and weeks.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Here's the SP, first number 4, Collier Bay at 9-1. Second number 1, Alderbrook, the 11-10 on favourite. And third number 11, Pridwell at 33-1. The totes, the win paid £10.30. Places 220, 140 and £9.50. The dual forecast £7.10. CSF £17 and twopence, 16 round.
So we have a new and deserved champion. Collier Bay has beaten last year's champion. He has the rugs on, the Smurfit Champion Hurdle. A new champion and a good one. More after this. To the most coveted winner's circle in the hurdling game for the presentation of the Smurfit Champion Hurdle. It now begins.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Steeplechase Company, may I take this opportunity to thank the Jefferson Smurfit Group, and in particular its chairman, Dr. Michael Smurfit, for their most generous and highly valued sponsorship of this, the feature hurdle race of the season, the £175,000 Smurfit Champion Hurdle. It is now with very great pleasure that I ask Dr. Smurfit to present the coveted trophies. First, to the owner of Collier Bay, Mr. Wally Sturt. And the trainer, the perpetual trophy as well. and the trainer, Mr. Jim Old. And the jockey, Graham Bradley.
We have Graham Bradley is with us here. Graham, it was, what, 12 years ago, 13 years ago, 1983, you stood at Cheltenham having won the Gold Cup on Bregorn. There's some grey hairs now, but is Bradley as good as ever, better than ever?
Oh, what did it look like out there? I felt as good as ever. A little bit tired up the running, but I didn't have a ride on Monday. It felt great. He seemed to travel well and he jumped well, and I was seeing my strides all right. It's unbelievable, really. Can't get over it.
And tell us, Graham, you made a big gesture as you came in, looking at your watch. Remind us what happened about. You should have been riding Alderbrook, but something went wrong with the late night lie-ins.
It's very, very embarrassing, bro. But I made Southern Electric send me a telegram saying when the power cut was, and it was from 9 o'clock till 2:30 the next day. And I was very unlucky. But I must thank Southern Electric now, mustn't I? Because I did lose the ride on Alderbrook, and I was...
You should have been... You were told to go and school Alderbrook. You planned to do it, but you'd been at a dance the night before or something. Is that right?
I should have been there at 10 o'clock in the morning. I went to Dean Gallagher's birthday party. Left about 1:30. Was pretty drunk, to be honest. But I mean, I thought I'd be there for 10 o'clock in the morning. It's no problem. If it had been 7:30 I had to school horse, I probably wouldn't have gone to the party. But my girlfriend Amanda Wilson left to go to work at 7:30, set the alarm. Power cut went. It was an electric alarm, so there was no noise, just flashing lights. Didn't wake up till 20 past 10.
Not till 20 past 10?
Oh, I can sleep a bit, me, you know, bro. And I rang Mr. Bailey 20 past 10. I said, Governor, I'll be there in 10 minutes. He said, don't worry about it, I've already done it now. He says, go back to bed. So I did.
And you'd lost around Alderbrook and you thought, I'll never win a champion hurdle.
Exactly. I mean, it was a nightmare. I thought Alderbrook was a good thing, actually, the way you won at Kempton the other day. And I just put it down to experience. It was one of those things, everybody makes mistakes, don't they? And I thought I'd missed a champion hurdle winner, but I haven't, have I? Very lucky man, unbelievable how what fate's like and luck can be in racing. You're up 1 minute, down the next. You just never know in this game, yeah.
Well, you've done it very well. Just tell us about Collier Bay. What was he like to ride today at Champion Hurdle?
It was incredible. I watched the race in Ireland, the Irish Champion Hurdle, when Jamie Osborne rode him, and he seemed a bit flat and had to niggle him along a little bit. But today I bounced out, I gave nothing away at the start, and he jumped lovely, and he's travelled like a very, very good horse all the way. Jim promised me he would be £10 better today than he was in Ireland. When he's travelled, I went past Jamie, going to the second last. A few expletives coming from Jamie's mouth, you know, he realised then he'd chose the wrong one. I just turned for home. Sorry, James, I did apologise to him when I pulled up. It's just one of those things. Again, that's racing, it's the ups and downs for you. But I went to the last, popped the last lovely, and he kept going all the way up the hill. Haven't got a clue how far I won. Somebody had to tell me that Alderbrook was second. I was just delighted to pass that post in front.
Graham, well done. Ladies and gentlemen, Graham Bradley, 1983 Gold Cup, 1996 Champion Hurdle. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And so, 35 years young Graham Bradley holding the trophy. He's a great soccer supporter, and that is his FA Cup. Go on, Graham. Congratulations. We'll be back. great opening day of the festival, we leave you with the Champion Hurdle and the champion Alderbrook coming back to defend his title, but finding Collier Bay just too good for him.
Against